Welcome to our live stream of high school sports. Please note that this broadcast is produced by an independent team of sports enthusiasts, and the views, opinions, and commentary expressed are solely those of the commentators and not representative of the schools, teams, or athletes featured. While we strive for accuracy, occasional errors or misstatements may occur. This stream is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. Thank you for joining us and enjoy the show.
Yeah, come on, let's go. Hey, you ain't never seen nothing like this. Ain't no telling how it might get. It's the hypest right here. High school sports at its finest. So many highlights, you have to rewind it. Hey, Stream City, let me just remind ya. The heart of a lion, a team full of fighters. So many stars on the field, it'll blind ya. They're giving everything they got till the time's up. Yeah, legends in the making. History is made. We just getting started. You ain't seen a thing. YSN, gotta know the name. They gon' bring the flames. They gon' do their thing. Take it to another level. Don't hold back. High school, got a passion and we show that. Got the drive and you know they got the heart. Number one spot for your high school sports. Let's go for the win. Hey.
And welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It is YSN Live for this Wednesday, the 16th. 16th of July. Unbelievable. We're almost through July. Halfway through it, over halfway through it, if you really look at it. And it's YSN Live. We're back for like 3 days, 2 days, I don't know, for a couple days, and then we're gone again.
Yep.
We'll see you later. Anthony coming back off the heels of a incredible state softball tournament and district tournament as well. Before that, buddy, let's. By the way, this is Anthony Ronald Hartwig.
Yes.
Who don't know?
It's been a minute, right?
It has been a minute. I feel like we do have to reintroduce ourselves. Let's talk about the state softball tournament. I mean, buddy, you were there from pillar to post. Nobody else was there. No other media outlets were touching this, and we saw the opportunity, as always, with our younger generation, with our younger talent here on the network. And, buddy, as always, you did not disappoint. You continued your string of success in the sports realm.
You said it.
I did. I knew it was coming too. It was in there. It was on the inside teleprompter and just spit right out. Talk to me about this state tournament. Obviously, our team's standing out a little bit once again, as we argue that we have the best diamond sports in the entire state of Ohio, arguably, of course, but we're a little bit biased. Talk to me about the state tournament and what you saw.
No, it was really awesome. You know, both of our local teams ended up getting the win, Austintown and Canfield. Canfield had to do it the hard way. They lost in the winners bracket final against Wheelersburg, so they had to fight their way out of the losers bracket first and then beat Wheelersburg twice in one day. And they pulled it off. That was one of the coolest things to see for the whole district and state run, for a team to be able to put in a situation like that at such a young age. I mean, you're talking about 12-year-olds, 11-year-olds. Some of these girls in the Canfield team were playing up as 10-year-olds. So to see them just be able to be put in that position, lose one game to Wheelersburg, where it was a game where they got shut out 3-0, and to come back, to win the game they had to win to get back to Wheelersburg, and then beat Wheelersburg twice in one day. That was really cool. It was really fun to see. I mean, Sloan Vodhandle at the top of the lineup for Canfield was amazing to watch, all district, all state. Their whole lineup, though, you know, you look at Mia Tish and Michaela Lang, who had a big day in the second game against Wheelersburg. Kate Broderick had a lot of big swings. And then Kylie Kritz in the circle. Canfield's got a big future coming up. I think Mike Kernan was watching those games, smiling a little bit, knowing that maybe he shouldn't go anywhere for a couple of years, because he's got some things coming up that he's gonna have fun with.
I'm doing one of the games, the Canfield 12U game. That I forget even what day it was. Everything's a blur right now.
I think you did Thursday, right? You did the Thursday game?
I think you're right. But I'm looking out in center field, and I can see a very very familiar face out in center field. And it was Coach K. And I agree. I think Canfield has a lot coming up. I think Austintown, that 10U team, pretty impressive, pal.
Yeah.
I mean, they just bulldozed through everybody.
Yeah,
Every single
they won when you combine the district and the state tournament. They won by a final total of 106-8 was the final tally when you
Close.
combine
Close.
it all up. And Talmadge got close both times. Like Talmadge was competitive. So all the other games outside of Talmadge were absolute just domination from Austintown.
What was that number again? 100 and what?
106-8. So almost a 100-run differential between districts and state with Austintown's 10U team.
And there's going to be plenty of people who didn't watch this team or don't know, and they just look at that and they go, "Oh, okay, they're just running up the." No, like if you watch this team, they take the foot off the pedal.
Yeah,
and they are incredibly sportsmanlike when it comes to this. And there's a lot of people that just look at the final score without watching the broadcast, without going to Fields of Dreams and watching this team that is incredibly impressive, and they'll sit there and they'll go, they just run up the score to make themselves look bad. That's not the case.
Well, you want to save these young pitchers' arms, so you want to play this game as quick as possible. You have to be up by 15 after 3 to end it by 3. So I think Austintown's goal in those games were, let's make sure we can get that 15 by the third inning and get out of here early. Sometimes that means it was a little bit more than 15 in their quest to get that number, but once they got to that, they were like, okay, let's just step off,
And I tip my cap to the entire coaching staff, because there's a way. It's all right. It's a little bit softer of a playing surface, so to speak, whenever you're dealing with Little League baseball, right? Because feelings can get hurt in the stands, feelings can get hurt on the field, and what you don't want to do is deter these young ladies or young gentlemen from playing Little League baseball and Little League softball. And if you're being trounced 23-0 or whatever it may be, it can be a little bit of a sobering experience to but it shouldn't deter you from wanting to play again. I guess the push, I'm gonna sound really old when I say this, there's a little lack of competitive drive sometimes with these teams, and that's not just everywhere else, that's here too. When you get beat, you try to find every other reason that you were whooped on, other than looking in the mirror, and sometimes you just got to get a little better. It's just one of those things. And I think that, a lot of people look for everything else as opposed to, hey, we weren't very good today and we can get better and match them. Hey, let's play them again, instead of let's stay as far away from them as possible and make up every excuse in the book why we lost. And that's the frustrating part for us. You and I have to do a very much a tiptoe on that line sometimes when we're doing our broadcast, because you don't want to necessarily point at anybody, but you also don't want to encourage these total thrashings of teams. But when you're in an all-star tournament like it is, it's your stars against their stars. And I think that you and I always talk about like the Little League, and not Little League like per se, but like the amateur sports, the amateur, smaller sports, and smaller lineups per se. Buddy, when you're doing an all-star tournament, you can throw all those things out the window sometimes.
Right.
Because it's not about the game anymore. It's about whose team's the best.
And I remember there was a conversation in the press box happening about that, Austintown winning games by a lot. And Chet Cooper brought up a good point. These girls are not playing for Austintown their whole summer. They're also playing for travel teams. They're kind of giving up a little bit of their time to come and play with these girls that represent their community. And the coaching staff kind of wants to give them their reps. They want to make sure that they're getting their swings. They're getting their stolen base reps. These are girls that are still developing their talent. So you can't really tell them at that level, hey, let's take our foot off the gas pedal a little bit and lose the fundamentals just because we're up by 10 or 12. It's just not fair to them to be like, we're going to stop playing the game and stop teaching you what you should be doing because we're ahead by so much.
Well, at some point, and I want to make sure that people understand, we're not advocating for running up the score in every single situation. JVs, for instance, in high school, freshman teams, I think that's an opportunity to learn. It's getting reps in. listen, you can count your record. That's fine. But does it really count for anything? I don't think. Like, you can record it to max preps, I guess, if you're really interested. But varsity, and I've said this before, if you're losing by 70 in a football game, get better. Like, it's not the other team's job to take their foot off the gas and to make sure that the game's a little closer, because at the end of the day, like, if that team comes back and wins, then your hide is on the hook a little bit. I think you can take that rule here in varsity athletics in high school and apply it to these contests and AAU, and you can apply it to travel ball, and you can apply it to JO. And listen, it's not the other team's job to make sure that the score is close.
Right.
It's not their job to entertain per se. The idea of the other team can play and be on the same court as you or the same field as you. What I think, and parents get so frustrated because you hear the mantra of Little League, which I love, of, if I cannot win, I will always do my best.
Yep.
Your best is not always going to be good enough. And I think it's up to parents, especially at this age that kids are going from 8 to 12U, and then they enter the world of hot stove and varsity and junior varsity athletics. It's up to the parents to make them realize, like, you are not guaranteed to win every time you take the field or court. There is no guarantees out there. And guess what? There are going to be people that are better than you in that sport. You've got to get better in that off season to be that person that everybody else looks up to. So it's the conversation that will never end. It'll be longer on this earth than we will, Anthony. That is for certain. Of people saying, well, they're cheating or they're not being sportsmanlike. There's a difference between just beating somebody down on the field or court and not being sportsmanlike. Like, every time that I heard a whisper, a rumor about that Austintown team, I heard, well, they're beating everybody, but they're doing it because with class. Yeah. And that's what I want to say. Hey, congratulations, Austintown, because they want to hate you, but they can't, because you're beating them and then patting them on the back and be like, hey, let's do this again. Let's get better together.
Yeah, and Coach Mattern and Coach Hamley especially, we've done work with him because he coached that 12U team the last couple of years that went to the World Series last year. So now he's coaching his younger daughter in the 10U as an assistant. He can be very what's the word I'm looking for? Energetic and animated, but he doesn't cross that. He knows exactly what he can and can't do in the Little League setting, and he's always teaching, and I'm always respecting him because he doesn't lose the emotion of a coach. Like, sometimes you think Little League is the coaches try so hard not to be in that mode that they kind of lose a little bit of themselves. So he's still very much himself out there coaching, but he also knows like where that line is and understands when to push the envelope, when not to push the envelope, when trying to get his kids to do something. So I've always really respected Matt Hanley. We've been able to interview him a couple of times throughout the years, and I think he's one of the reasons why that Austintown team is doing what they're doing so well, and in the manner they are, in the classy manner that they are.
And what a program they're building out there. And Coach Steve Ward sitting there smiling from ear to ear every step of the way, I have to imagine. But you said it best. And here's the thing that I want people to understand. We have to be observant of what's going on the field, in the dugouts, things of that nature, because we have to report what we see the majority of the time. What I can tell you is, I mean, at least on my side, now I haven't got into the thick of the state tournament yet. That comes next week, very beginning of the next week. What I can tell you is, at least from what I've heard, this has been a relatively calm tournament. On the girls' side, at least. And there's a lot of respect for a lot of the teams. And a lot of these teams are the same ones year after year now because they're building programs year after year. I was very impressed with Talmadge and what they were able to do. And we talk about Wheelersburg. We've seen what they've been able to do the entire time.
You look at that.
Took his shirt off right in front of the glass.
Talmadge, Wheelersburg, Austintown, and Canfield were the 4 teams that were kind of there in the finals for 10U and 12U. Combined, their 16 state championships in those varsity programs. So that tells you, like, they're feeding their youth, and that's why they're so good at the next level in varsity, because they have really strong youth softball programs.
We got a lot to get to today. I want to keep this conversation going, though, but I want to make sure that we're teasing the rest of the show. We have Nick Safara, who is the athletic director for Leetonia, who I asked specifically to come on the show today because there's some rumors out there, Ant. Some rumors out there that aren't really great if you are a Leetonia fan, and we are going to dispel them right here, right from our dear friend Nick Safara's mouth. Who is in his first year at Leetonia still. And, it's one of those situations every year since we've been around. And kind of the reason we came about was because of all of these different here to see my boy Nick. Love it, says Josh Scott. And Josh might be able to weigh in on this conversation as well, obviously with what's going on. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about, and Anthony, you might be able to put a lot of light on this situation, are conferences. And there's a lot of weight and a lot of levity in what conference you're in. I can tell you, this time of year is always very interesting from a conference point of view, because you hear rumblings of teams leaving conferences, teams joining conferences, how conferences work. Is this conference a strong conference? Is this conference a weak conference? Is this conference even worth winning? Now you add in, hey, are we even having teams in sports? And I mean, we're in July. This is July 16th. In Georgia, 3 weeks away from first night of football. Then you add in Ohio. We are, 6 weeks away?
I think 6 weeks.
From tomorrow, from playing football. And you look at we saw the frustration in one particular community with a coach stepping away for reasons we don't know, and quite honestly, that's not what we do. We're not diving into that. That's between a district and their coaching staff, and there's lots of time for the rumors and to dispel some of that stuff. But here's what I'm going to tell you. There's a lot of fires going on right now from one side of our coverage area to the other. Mm-hmm. There's teams that want to leave conferences. There's teams that want to join conferences. There's teams that are potentially joining conferences, but nothing's official yet. There's teams that don't even, the rumors are, and why we're having Nick on is there's people saying Leetonia doesn't have a football team at this point. And they kind of had and he'll have to kind of bring me up, because right now I'm having a hard time telling you what is virtual reality and what is reality. Because there are so many things out there with, Leetonia doesn't have a team, and we've heard rumors that they want to go to another conference because they can't, quote unquote, they can't handle, or they're not prepared to play in the EOAC, in the football conference. That's got to be incredible. If you're on the team right now, that has to be incredibly frustrating, because I'm sure there's rumors running wild in Leetonia as well. And it's not just Leetonia, folks. It is all over the place. If you're looking down the pipe and you're like, or the pipeline, I should say, you're looking down the pipeline, you're saying, okay, well, the numbers are down in this class. The numbers are up in this class, and down and down and down. Smaller schools are getting smaller. Mm-hmm. Bigger schools are getting bigger, and we're building this area right in the middle there that teams are like, where do we pick kids from?
Right.
And the conversation about open enrollment, which you and I talk about it all the time. I mean, it's a frustrating one, because it always ends up someone's talking out of both sides of their mouth.
Yep.
It always ends up that way, because teams that are really good at open enrollment open enroll very early, like kindergarten. So by the time they get there, yes, it is technically open enrollment. However, you can't point and say, well, they're only coming here because of athletics if they've been there for 9 years.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in the school district is watching this kindergarten kid and be like, that's gonna be our start quarterback in 12 years. You know, no one's saying that. There's no one that's like, hey man, this kid right here, except maybe Z, right?
Well, I wasn't gonna say anything. I mean, what's cool is you see, and this is every parent. Let's be honest, this is every parent. They look at the kids that are really good at 6U, 8U, 10U, 12, and they're like, this is the greatest class that'll ever come through here. And here's a spoiler alert. If you've got all these kids that are really good at baseball, really good at flag football, really good at basketball, some of those kids are going to fizzle out.
Yep.
Because kids stop growing, kids get other interests. Video games being a big one right now. Esports was hot for a minute. I don't know where it kind of went. I mean, it was red hot for a second, and now it's like, yeah, that's good. But when all you have is, hey, we're going to let you play video games and we're going to give you scholarships. I don't know, in the economic climate we are in right now, especially with universities, that's always going to fly. Now, do I think esports is a good outlet? I do. Do I think that it's going to ever surpass football? No shot. No shot.
Way.
Especially with NILs and things like that. Mike wants to know, what conference will they go to? When the ITCL broke up, that was the end of competitive Mahoning Valley sports. I
don't know if I would agree with that. I think it got more competitive when the ITCL broke up, because one of the reasons the ITCL broke up is because it started to really get uncompetitive in that conference.
Agreed. And I've seen things online. One of my dear friends, Mike Irvin, who is just he loves putting stuff out there just to see kind of what people's perception is. Not always in the interest of, hey, here's my opinion. It's here's what I think would be interesting, and puts it out there, which I love. One of the conversations right now that he's having is, and this kind of ties into Mike's comment, is where would they go? Well, there's a conference called the NAC, and Badger,
Pie Valley, Maplewood, Grand Valley, Matthews, Chalker. I don't know if Chalker has a football team.
Chalker's got 8 man.
They're in that conference.
So you look at that, and that's the option that a lot of these smaller schools are looking at. Now, I will tell you, with that, I don't want to blow out the competition, because it is a very competitive conference. You look at some of the teams we've seen play that have football teams, but that conference doesn't need that. A lot of these conferences, you have to have football. Football in order to be in their conference. And you've got some teams up in the NAC that don't have football. Badger doesn't have a football team. Maplewood doesn't have a football team. You look at that and you go, okay, this is a conference that we can feel comfortable in, and you don't feel the pressure of, we have to field a football team or else we're getting booted from the conference, because that starts a whole wave of things.
But then you also wonder, the NAC's already sitting with teams that don't have football. Do they want to have another team with no football? Like, is there value in bringing in another team with no football?
And that's kind of things that we're going to have to talk to Nick about, because we've heard that no football at all in Leetonia, perhaps. We've heard 8-man football is on the horizon. We've heard that they have a team, but they're not sure. What I can tell you is, and I'm really interested, is we've had conversations with these they're not Tiny Tykes. They're like the EOYFL or whatever it is. Leetonia is a presence there. And Leetonia has a presence there. And I think that the future is bright in Leetonia, but the bigger thing is you got to be able to get there. And I think Nick's got such just a strong hand of, and a strong understanding of, okay, because he was the athletic director across both schools at East and Cheney. And he was able to manage that. Now it's different type of pool that he gets to pull from, but and I mean by the numbers aspect, but you look at what if you look down the pipe and you go, okay, I've got 30 kids coming that are playing football in this class, or 20, whatever that number is, the future is a little bit brighter. So you just got to get from point A to point B. We'll bring him on in about 2 minutes here, and I see him backstage to get those answers. But I want to finish kind of what we're talking about. What I don't like about all of this, Anthony, always. The biggest turnoff to me is that teams, districts, whatever it may be, they sit there and they point to another conference and they say, well, the grass is greener over here. It's not. I can almost promise you it's not. Unless you're building some kind of new conference and you're building an ultra conference, and it's not going to be a surprise to many, the NE8 to me is one of the most fundamentally sound conferences there are, and I think they did it from day one the right way. And the only misstep they might have had is, and I think Jefferson would agree, Jefferson was a little bit too far.
Yeah.
They were a little bit too far, and that was the only kind of, I don't even want to say it was a mistake, because they were a great addition to that conference when you saw what Jefferson was able to do against even West Branch in the playoffs. That big win in football, that was a big win for the NE8. I think the NE8 with 7 or 8 teams is an outstanding conference. I think the All-American Conference has all the potential in the world to be one of the best conferences in the entire state.
Yeah.
You look at the MVAC, what is it comprised of? It's comprised of all these small schools, 16, 17 smaller schools, and that becomes a real problem because you have 2 divisions essentially in there, and with the ebbs and flows of how schools, have their kids and the cyclical ability to either bring kids into the district through open enrollment or the amount of kids moving into a district or amount of people having kids in that district, it's going to change. And what you're going to find out is there are some programs that will stay good and people will hate those programs. And they will say, we need to kick this program out because A, they're taking our kids, or B, they just keep having kids that are good, and these programs are so strong that we don't have a chance of winning. What bothers me is the back end. The back end of that statement of we don't want to be in this conference because they're in this conference and they keep winning it. That is soft.
That goes right back to what we were talking about in the Little League conversation. Get better if you're getting beat. Don't be soft.
It drives me nuts because I'm the first one that, okay, so why do you want them out of the conference? Or why do you want to leave a conference? Well, because we can't win. That's basically, they'll give me a 20-minute speech and the end of it is we can't win it. So instead of getting better, building your programs, and a guy that, again, has done this before and I will assume do it again, is joining us here in 30 seconds. And I'll tell you what, man, it drives me nuts as a competitor myself. And in what we're doing, stop running away from losing. We're chiming in here. Why did the ITCL break up, DJ? Well, to my understanding, there was a lot of personal feelings that were hurt with the ITCL. And there was a little bit of both of what I just said. A little bit of they're taking our kids and a little bit of we can't win. And so really the outliers were 2 schools, right? Crestview and South Range. And they were gone. And I mean, that's kind of what that's what frustrates me. And I'm not in the corner of either.
And then when they were gone, all of a sudden the rest of the teams figured out that without them in a conference, that wasn't a conference anymore, and they had to kind of go make their own.
Well, and that's what gets me. Like, everybody's like, well, just put the ITCL back together. That doesn't solve anything. That solves nothing. That just gives a bigger headache to more schools, more commissioners, more people, more districts, more superintendents. By combining it, you're just combining the problem, right? That both conferences are having. So we will see. But at this time, a man with all the answers, naturally, a guy that I love talking to, both on here and our lengthy chats. the athletic director at Leetonia High School, here to clear up some of the rumor mill as it may be right now in Leetonia. Ladies and gentlemen, Nick Safara. Hi, Nicky.
DJ, what's happening?
Well, you just heard me rant for about 30 minutes about that. So, hey, the floor is yours, my friend. So I guess we got to start at the top. Let's get this over and done with. So many rumors about Leetonia in the high school realm about you guys won't have a football team. You guys are looking to move from one conference to another. For you, I mean, I know this is your first crack at it. You're less than a year in. You've taken over this. What conversations have you had? What is the ultimate, 6 weeks away from football season? What do we know about Leetonia? Will there be a team or won't there?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, in short, the answer to that question is yes. We had a 7-on-7 yesterday, put on a good show, scored some touchdowns and gave up some touchdowns. Kids were playing, kids were having fun. We had one 2 weeks ago, the same thing. So in short, the answer to that question is yes. 10 weeks is a long season. So when your numbers are where our numbers, and we're not alone, where all the schools our size numbers are at, when you have 20 to 25 to 30 kids on a football team, by week 6 or 7, 3 or 4 of them get hurt, 2 or 3 of them transfer out, 1 or 2 quits. Before you know it, you're down to 15 or 16. So will we have a season? Yes. Are we playing football? Yes. Will we play all 10 games? Yes. Is it as bad as the rumor mill is making it sound? No. Is the world falling apart? You can see my beard is still black. My hair is still
just
gone.
For men works wonders, baby. Just for men works wonders.
Right. The world is not crashing down as everybody thinks it is, and it isn't. Are our numbers low? Yeah. Is our school enrollment low? Yeah. I mean, they make divisional statuses for a reason. Division 7 is Division 7 for a reason. Some of the fun facts, and they're not fun because they're about us. But doing some research, we're actually the smallest school in the state of Ohio still playing 11-man football. We are also on top of that, the 12th smallest school in the state of Ohio. So if you look at the regional divisions that just came out from the state levels, we're the 12th smallest in the state of Ohio. So some of the stuff that you guys were talking about before I jumped on, a lot of that stuff is true, but on the other angle of some of that stuff, though, there does become a point to where do you fit and where don't you fit, and what do you fit in and how do you fit. Agree with. I think we have a great conference. I want to say that too. I don't want to put more rumors into the air, and we can answer those questions as we go. But I think we have a great conference. We're local. We can compete. Everything is close. Some of the frustrations that the conference has had with us, though, is due to our low numbers. We don't have all the sports that Columbia Indian United have. We don't have all the sports that even EP has. Southern is similar to us. Wellsville is similar to us. You have your ebbs and flows, but some of the frustrations come down to legitimate number concerns. And sometimes you have to have that conversation a little bit more bluntly about where you're really at with numbers.
So I guess the next question has to be, has the conversation started? Is the rumor true that their potential was there for 8-man football? And if so, how far are you potentially from being 8-man football? You said you're the smallest school in the state that has 11-man. How have those conversations progressed with, hey, we're going to commit to 11-man, or here's what it takes to get to 8-man?
No. So, and again, I always speak open-minded. I don't keep secrets, and, whether I make people mad or not. I have not entertained any 8-man conversations. Anthony and what they're doing over there at Sebring is awesome. We've met with Anthony about even hosting 8-man over here at our facility. I made my stance pretty clear from the jump. If and when the school goes to 8-man, I'll be back to the drawing board trying to find out, where I'm going next. I don't want to say 8-man, if you have to go there, you have to go there. But I don't even want to put those thoughts or conversations in the air. We have no intentions on going to 8-man. We have no intentions on introducing 8-man. Again, it's not a shot at 8-man. It's just not where we're at. I mean, the school just put in a beautiful facility. I'm sure you guys have made your way out here at some point. The school put in a beautiful brand new turf field, locker rooms. We're not built for 8-man football. We're built for good, hard-fought football and school pride, and that's the avenue that we're going to go. We just need everybody else to buy into that mentality and stop with the chirping.
With all that being, I mean, you just talked about how hard the kids are working, the 7-on-7 earlier this week. Is it frustrating to see all those kids working, and then you hear rumors all the time of we're not even going to have a team when you look at the kids and they're like, they're working so hard to make sure you have a team?
It is. It's extremely frustrating on our end, but it's even more frustrating on the kids' end. And, and again, I say all this stuff respectfully. Like I said, I'm sure I'm going to make some people mad and some comments mad. But the one thing that I've kind of been saying since I got here a couple months ago is our parents and our community has had a loud voice, which is a good thing. I don't want to silence our community, but our kids hear every single thing that they say. So a lot of times I'm hearing that so-and-so is transferring or so-and-so is not going to play football or so-and-so is not going to have football. I'm hearing it from the kids. And that's kind of that's when you kind of hit that breaking point where it's like, okay, we're not doing what's best for kids. We're putting thoughts into kids' heads. The couple kids that have transferred out this year transferred out because they were told we're not going to have a football team. It's not true. We're going to have a football team. And that's kind of goes back to that rumor mill. If you want to transfer because you don't like me, you don't like the coach, you don't like the school, you don't like the way the program is being run, that's fine. Transfer for those reasons. Do what's best for you and your family. But when you come out and say, like, we heard we're not going to have a football team, so we're transferring, it just causes this, like, circle, which, it's a never-ending circle. I mean, the 4 or 5 kids that have left, if they were still here, we're not even having this conversation. I'd love to jump on and talk to you any day of the week, but so where I'm going on my ramble is if we didn't create our own circle of chaos, we wouldn't have chaos. So it's very frustrating, and it's frustrating for those reasons because there's a lot of good kids in this building, and there's a lot of good football players in this building. Like I said, we just scrimmaged. Western Reserve popped in yesterday. We had a very good scrimmage. Of course, you don't 7-on-7s. We're not counting with the scoreboard, but to me, from watching from the side, it looked like we won the scrimmage. We got some work to do on defense, but we had no issues scoring, and the kids are out there working their butts off. So it's extremely frustrating for all of us. And it's even more frustrating for the coaching staff that are putting in their time. And then for the community who hears what they hear. And, I'm learning small town, obviously. I'm learning the different ins and outs of some things, but I go try to grab lunch at the local place and the talk of the town, like at the bars, they're not going to have football this year. And I'm like, you guys haven't even came out to the scrimmages to see. We're going to play football this year.
And that's the exciting part. I mean, to kind of cut back everything else, the rumor mill, and we hear it too, we see it too, obviously, because that's our job.
Of course.
For you though, that's got to be incredibly frustrating because you mentioned some of these kids, 5-6 kids potentially leaving the district because someone else told them they're not going to have football at Leetonia. And there's a lot. Listen, I will tell you first and foremost, for as long as I've been alive, there is so much Leetonia pride, and a lot of people are generational. In their kids are going to Leetonia because they live in Leetonia, they have their entire lives, and there's a lot of pride to be a Bear. Yep. For you to, first off, how many? You're putting the program together, I imagine, at this point, 6 weeks out. How many people? How many, kids are on the roster right now? You mentioned obviously things that are out of your control, injuries and stuff like that, but when we see week 1, Leetonia, how many kids can we expect to be on the roster in week 1, not week 10, week 1?
Yeah. In week 1. So we've been doing a lot of homework. We've been doing a lot of work, period. We've been going door to door. We've been cold calling. We've been pulling contact names, lists. To answer your question in short, I would be not surprised if we have 27, 28 to 30 on that sideline week 1, which for the size school that we are, a D7
that's
program,
awesome.
That's where you're going to be. It's just where you're at. We have had consistently at practice between 15 and 18 in the month of July. The one thing that is totally new to me, and I promise you it has been driving me crazy, like these kids flat out they're not going to show up until August 1st. Like I keep hearing it. Well, it's not mandatory till August 1st. It's not mandatory till August 1st. You guys know where I'm coming from. Football started in December and it ended in December. And it was 24/7 at D3 schools and the schools that, are rolling and rocking and jiving. So to me, it's new, but I've called every single enrolled student in the building. We have about 27 kids who have committed and said that they'll be here on August 1st. They're just not coming right now. Which again, I of course don't like that answer, but I'm not going to be the guy that comes in and tells people what they have to do. There's mandatory time frames for a reason. I would be shocked if we're less than 25 come week 1. Okay. But with that comes down to, the conversation you guys were having prior to, unfortunately right now, the world is revolving strictly around winning. And I feel like it was like that when we were probably playing, you know how it is when you get older, you think life was better when you were younger and it's soft and different now, but
no.
Right. The need to win right now is like that's the part that's been the most frustrating, is nobody wants to come out and fix a team that hasn't won. Everybody wants to join the team that's won, and we're seeing it at the NBA, the NFL. I mean, you know where I stand with some of the professional, right? We're seeing with the NIL. We've had the conversation before. I don't like college sports because I don't like the NIL. I love it for the kids. They deserve every penny they're getting, but it's putting a price tag on something that, you know, growing up didn't have a price tag to it. So kids just want to jump ship and play where they're winning, and unfortunately it's trickling down to the high school levels. And again, it's no secret the teams that are successful are getting kids every side. It's like the transfer portal is open. I mean, we're seeing it at every level.
Well, I guess I got to ask that question. I mean, you and I have talked a lot and extensively about open enrollment, and it seems to be, at least to me, open enrollment, while it can be a problem, obviously, it seems to be more of an excuse at this point, especially if, you know, districts have open enrollment policies and the door swings both ways, essentially. So for you, do you see open enrollment as a problem, or do you see it as a solution, or do you see it as a little bit of both?
Well, like you said, it's a little bit of both. Right now for us, it's a problem because we're the ones that are feeling our kids leaving and going elsewhere. Well, I mean, I got yard signs across the street that say, like, you know, new Clipper. And again, no shade to anybody else, but I'm just giving examples. And it's like, that's right across from our high school. And that stuff's frustrating. So to us right now, it'd be a problem. But to the schools that are winning because of it, you know, you're happy for it. So you're stuck in the middle with that.
And I think you've talked about it before, but it's kind of like a catch-22 because people want to go where they want to win, but it's hard to build a winning program when people aren't coming and giving you a shot. So what are the conversations have to try to kind of turn that conversation around a little bit and try to find a way to get a foothold with that culture?
Now, some things I can't say on here obviously have been said, and some thoughts and some different things. But yeah, you just have to try to find a way to sell those kids to understand, you know, the biggest thing we have right now that is pitching and we're buying into a little bit is, you know, that loser, that underdog mentality is kind of just where we're at. And that's the best, and I hate to even say that, but that's the best pitch we have right now. Cause like you said, it's a revolving door. We had like a town hall meeting, whatever you want to call it. We had community come out. And we had that exact conversation that you just said. It's a revolving door to where, how are you supposed to win a game if you don't have kids? So it's like that. It's that circle to where we just need to get a group of kids that says, you know what, I'm from here. My family graduated from here. My people are from here. I want to be the one that turns this place around. And I think we have that coming up. Our 7th and 8th grade numbers right now are awesome. We're looking at like 30, 35 kids at the middle school level, and all of them are buying into the culture of wanting to be a Latonia Bear. And I think it's just going to take time. That's the other biggest thing, is you just need to have patience. You know, I've been very transparent with the community. This stuff's not going to happen tomorrow. Again, in the age that we're in, everybody wants things to flip next year. I would love to say, yeah, we're going to go 10-0 next year, but that's just not where we're at yet. But we need the kids to buy into some sort of endearment to what we have, and roll with it from there. We had these similar issues in Youngstown. It was the same boat. You guys, you know, it's no secret. Kids transferred out. You know, we had awesome middle school teams, and then they'd end up at Ursulines and Moonies and Fitches and Boardmans. And again, kudos to them and more power to them. And at the end of the day, we want to do what's best for kids in their future. But until we can stop that revolving door of like, kids are out, but we're not winning. Well, we're not winning because we don't have kids to play. You know, you can't play on both sides of the ball for the whole game and wonder why you're in the fourth quarter, you're falling apart. You've had this gig for what, 6 months, essentially? No, 2, 3. I came in, I think like May 25th. What are we in? July, May, June, July, like 2.5. Yeah. So for you, I mean, what have you seen from the, I mean, you talked about that community meeting. What were some of the concerns that you heard, and what were some of the things that you've assured the next generation of Latonia Bears and Latonia Bear student athlete parents that, hey, stay here, be patient with me, and X will happen? Yeah, no, that's exactly it. And what we heard was a little bit of relief. And again, none of this stuff, it's always just me speaking transparent. This is also a place that's been a revolving door on its own end. You know, Tony is a superintendent. I think he's the third in 4 or 5 years. Again, I could be wrong on some of this stuff, but I'm pretty sure I'm accurate. He's the third superintendent in the last 4 or 5 years. Tim, our high school principal, is the third or fourth principal in the last 4 or 5 years. I'm the first full-time AD. There was Mardick, there was Beam, there was these guys that know what they were doing, and they've been good ADs, but the district has not put the money in and the resources in to have a full-time AD. So there's just been a lot of turnover even on the administrative side. And that's kind of what we spoke to the parents about and just said, listen, we understand that some of these issues and concerns are our own. He's across the hall from me, so I can't say some stuff too loud, but I've been going back and forth with some of even just the smaller stuff. Like the district itself we don't know what it takes to win. And, you see other schools winning and you get jealous of it, or you want to be them, or you want to be this, but a lot of people don't understand the work that goes in to get to that level. And, we are at stage 0. Like, we are just now uncovering what it takes to get there. Like just small things that we've done in the past that as a parent, I'd be like, what the heck? What do you mean my kid has to find a porta potty a mile away to go to the bathroom? Like, why can't he use the ones right behind him? And those are some of the things, like, as a district, that we just haven't bought into. We do have good youth programs. I heard you guys talking when I kind of was on the backstage there. We have good youth programs. And again, numbers are just dwindling as they do everywhere. But we just need to show more support for them. I don't like the last couple of years, we haven't done a youth night where our kids got to play at halftime and got to feel involved. And there's just a lot of stuff that we as a district have not really been doing the last couple of years that obviously shows why we've been where we're at. So
when you want stability, you're going to have to go through some drudge, right? To stay there for a long time, you're going to go through it. How committed are the current executive staff to just, hey, we're going to have to go through it for maybe 2 or 3 years, but we are committed to being here for the long haul and showing this community and these student athletes that there is stability in this school?
Yeah, that was part of the conversation in the interview process. I left a good gig where I was at. You guys know, I was happy there. Life was good there. So, that was something that came into it. I think we're all bought in. My kid just got enrolled in preschool out here, so I've put some family ties into the place out here already. I know our superintendent's bought in. Our contracts are all 4-year contracts. So we are officially now finally bought into seeing that changeover. Some of our teachers that have left or have came in, the new bodies we're bringing in are bought in. Our football coaching staff is extremely young. Aside from Matt, who, I can call him old because I'll call him old all day long. And he's even young as a head coach as well. But our staff behind him is young. We have a lot of past graduates, recent graduates. We have a lot of young kids that have that energy, that want to see this place be where it was when they were here. And those are some of the strategic moves that we've been making to get that momentum back, is bring in some young bodies. But we're fully committed. I mean, the district's fully committed. There's a lot of things. And again, I'm an open book, but I can't say too much. But the district has bought into athletics. Our gym floors are getting done right by me. And we talked about the last time I was on. We're getting screens and pads and wall prints. We have an athletic budget for the first time in 10 years. So there's things that the district, even I was coming in, I'm like, whoa, I can't believe they said yes to that. There's some stuff that I'm just like, I thought this was going to take 2 or 3 weeks or 4 board meetings, and they were just like, yeah, do it. And I'm like, oh, they're really bought in. And again, I'm not saying that in a disrespectful way, but there's been some conversations where it's like, this shouldn't have been that easy. And I'm glad it was, because it's best for kids. And the district is finally now buying in that we're going to do what's best for kids moving forward. So our kids are going to see it. We just want them to be here to feel it. New basketball uniforms are coming this year. New court is coming. So, I mean, the district is finally putting, some money behind athletics, and we want the kids to be motivated for it, but they just got to stick around. And what is it? What's Embiid saying? Trust the process, which that go very well, but.
Dude, Dylan Johns says it really does seem like that, for all schools, it's like a transfer portal in a way.
I can't see the Facebook pic, but I think that's our quarterback, right? I think that's our boy. He's throwing a lot of nice balls yesterday.
Do you feel the same way? Do you feel like that open enrollment and things in the way it is in high school football, or more than high school football, high school sports, is like a transfer portal? Or I think that might be I think that is a kind of over exaggeration, not from Dylan, but from many that don't understand how open enrollment works.
Yeah, don't blame Dylan, blame me. I'm just kidding. I think it is. I think, I mean, in short, I'd answer that question with yes. I do feel, I would argue with you, and I like arguing with you, so we can do that.
You sure do.
But I do. I think it's an open book. And again, kudos to any coaches that are doing it. But I think we've lost, and again, I'm going to get killed for some of these comments, but I think even as coaches and administrators, sometimes we've even lost, we're recruiting more than we should. And I know recruiting is a bad word and, however you want to word it, but we're all promoting our programs. But I think even as us, our focus is always who can I go get? Who can come in and do this and who can come in and do that. So I think some of it's even on us as adults.
Do you think that there's more of and you mentioned recruitment, so we'll just stick with that word,
Yeah.
a recruitment of the right people across these schools, or do you think it's becoming, hey, let's just recruit whoever we can get. If we can get a heartbeat in here and fill a jersey, I think it's better. Do you think there's a happy medium there, or do you think it's one side or the other right now?
I think some schools do it better than others. I think some just want a numbers game. I think some want to bring as many as they can in. And then if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. If somebody's better, and, tough crap. And that's the biggest thing for me is you see a lot of transfers, and then you see a lot of those transfers going back to where they transferred from. That's not because they went there and were unhappy. That's because they went there and somebody else was also recruited in who was better than them. So that's why they ended up coming back home. So
do you think this is a money game for districts? Because as you know, open enrollment brings in money to the district every time there's another head, and it comes, as I understand it, from that home district. So there is frustration naturally when you lose somebody because you're losing X amount of dollars. Do you think it's a numbers game, and do you think that's why the gate is always open potentially?
Yeah. And superintendents would have to speak way better to some of this stuff. I'm not, I don't want to outspeak my ignorance or not speak on the things I know, but 100% yes. Athletics in every single school district from Ohio State, well, maybe that's a bad example, but I don't think it is even. We could Google that one. From Ohio State down to Latonia are losing you money. I mean, there's just such a big cost for what I'm doing it right now. I mean, on my sheet of paper here next to me, and I won't obviously show you guys too much, but just referees alone, and they need to be referees alone for the fall sports season are going to cost us almost $13,000. And we only have 5 home football games. Again, as a team that's been 0-38 the last 5 years, if we're not bringing in $13,000 on those 5 home football games, we would love to, we would hope to, and that's just officials. Game workers is another X amount. Turning on the lights, the facilities, the police, the ambulance, the cops. So yeah, it is a money game at the end of the day because athletics is something that costs the school district money. You're not profitable in athletics at the high school level for sure, and numbers do grow it. And then you have the obvious stuff that's going on at the way higher levels that I really don't know anything about, so I'm not even embarrass myself on. But you do have the state of Ohio coming down and closing smaller schools. You have them asking schools to combine. I mean, that's, again, I'm not in Youngstown anymore, and I don't want to always talk about Youngstown, but Youngstown didn't want to combine schools. I mean, it became a numbers game that it just didn't make sense for the schools to stay open. And again, I can't speak on what they have going on there. It's all love over there, but that wasn't a decision that was easy.
Do you see potentially, and I'm not saying Latonia, I'm saying, it just in general, do you see more schools having to combine given some of the low numbers that they're seeing in their athletics and in the classroom?
Yep. I keep telling all of our kids soon, if we don't fix it here, you guys are going to end up wearing a Lisbon or a Columbiana or a new school jersey. And, families don't want that. Families want small school pride. Families want, they're small. There's so many pros to small schools as well. I mean, education is important here as well. When your classroom size is 20 to 25 kids, you get such better learning experience inside the classroom because you have a lot more one-on-one time. So parents want that. And that's kind of what I keep trying to tell parents is you guys got to understand the smaller and smaller we get, trust me, it's not hard for the state of Ohio to come and be like, nope, see you later, close them. They don't know what it does to the inside of the program. So yeah, it's a fear. It is 100% a fear on what's going to happen next and what's not going to happen. But if we can fix it and increase our numbers, the fear goes away.
We're certainly behind you, man. Naturally, Latonia was the first to ever sign with YSN. And there's a link there forever, certainly. And with you at the helm, obviously you have the freedom to pop on here whenever you'd like and to kind of make sure things are moving forward, at least with the truth. That's what we're looking for is the truth. Because, I mean, listen, you and I talked, like, it got a little bit out of hand with some of the rumors that were floating around. So
Yeah.
way to go, bring it up and make sure that you cut straight to the chase, man.
I appreciate you guys for always giving the floor and what you guys do. You guys know that, and that's that's what we're here for. Anytime you guys have a spot, I'm never shy to jump on the camera and talk and ramble and argue and do what we got to do. But no, we're gonna play football. There is some.
Hey, we're playing football, baby. That's Leetonia football.
We are going to play football. We're going to go out there, and schedules made for us to hopefully shock the world and come out 2-1, 3-0, whatever it is that we're at. And I think that'll just change the game. So our kids just need to feel a win, man. It's, you can say whatever you want. You can be political. You can say the right stuff. At the end of the day, going 0-38, at some point you do. I mean, it just wears you out. I mean, they haven't won a game in 4 years.
I'm just happy that Dylan popped on here. QB1 popped
Nice.
on. It shows that he's invested.
Our kids are. And I don't mean to cut you off, but that's the first thing I said. I went to the first scrimmage, and I'm not going to lie to you. And again, Dylan's probably still on here, and he can fight me later about it. But I went to the first scrimmage, and I'm like, these kids are going to fall over each other. There's no way they even know how to run a route. There's no way that they even know what they're doing. I went to the first scrimmage, and I'm like, we're not that bad. We actually know what we're doing. Our schemes were our kids were clear. Our kids were bought in. Our huddles were loud. Our breaks were loud. Our body language was good. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, what are we missing? Because to me, this is like primetime small town football. And it's just like, we got to get there. And there goes Scrag there too. That's what I mean. The community is just so bought in. James just did a heck of a job with baseball. We just finished with 25 kids on a baseball program all year last year. So the community is bought in. We just got to change some mindset and some culture, which is not easy. It's very hard to change culture. But in defense of the kids, again, 0-48, they haven't felt a win in 4 years. Can you imagine how that feels?
I feel it this year, man. I feel like the Bears are going to get one this year.
Yeah, and when we do, I'm going to be on here first, front and center. And I'm not. I'm going to make sure the team is on here because I didn't do nothing. It's them guys working for it. No, we need a show. We need a party.
Let's do it. We're bought in. You let me know. Leetonia gets whatever they want from YSN because without Leetonia, there is no YSN. There's 4 schools that can say that. And Leetonia will always be able to say they were number 1. They were the tribal chief.
We're going to start cashing in on that because once we start rocking and rolling, we're going to get
all right. There's never been a chip on the table that you haven't cashed in YSN, pal, whether you were first or 80th. No, we appreciate you, dude.
I'm there.
Thank you so much for taking time, clearing up the rumor mill for us today. Looking forward to seeing some Bear football and getting some interviews here preseason with some of your players and coaches and obviously shining a light on the great kids and great student athletes that you have over there in Leetonia, man.
Yeah.
Nick Safara, the best there is, ladies and gentlemen. The AD of Leetonia saying there will be football. Go Bears, buddy.
We will play. I appreciate you guys. Let me know what I can do on your end. If not, enjoy it.
Be well, Nick. We'll talk to you soon, pal.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Hey, all that matters. There will be sports.
There will be football. Yes, there will be football.
Rumors
are officially put down, I guess you could say, right?
Yeah. So all you out there who want to just on Leetonia football and say we're not going to be playing football, we're not going to be playing sports, we're too small. Hey, those kids, a lot of heart, and they've got a great leader in the athletic department that's going to make sure. How about that answer about 8-man football? Oh my God.
He didn't mince words.
Nikki might be answering for that one a little bit. I'm sitting there. I'm like, oh boy.
I love when the first thing he said was, if there's 8-man football, I'm going to be looking for somewhere else to go.
That's what I'm talking about right there. Direct quote. And listen, I've heard every single rumor. I'm in all of these message boards, and the community thing was interesting. Which, first off, well done, Leetonia, to open up to the community and to hear their voice, for lack of a better term, and to be able to answer that and say, no, we're committed to making sure that we can play with East Palestine and Wellsville and Southern and Columbiana and Lisbon, and the list goes on and on. It's very, very inspiring, I think is the word I'm looking for. We got Nick on as soon as he took over the job at Latonia, and he made a list essentially of this is what I'm going to do. And boy, in the 2.5 months that he's been there, he is checking off the box. And the reason I love Nick, for one of a zillion, is that this is what we're going to do, and this is what we're committing to, and we're going to do it. And, he says there's 30 kids in the 7th and 8th grade coming up. Just be patient. Be patient, yet be persistent. And, one of the things, again, that Nick is doing is he's making sure, hey, do you go to Latonia? Do you want to play sports? Because here's an opportunity. And you can be – every single small school goes through this. I don't care. I mean, I witnessed it in East Palestine. My freshman year, 1-9. My senior year, I want to say we were 11, 12, and 1, something like that. I mean, I witnessed it, but I also witnessed a guy named Brian Blevins and so many other coaches recruiting the hallways. This was way before open enrollment. And this was, hey, I get it that you want to do band. You want to be a part of the band, but maybe you can be part of the football team too. Because these small schools, Anthony, as you know, they have to be able to share talent. They have to be able to, hey, I know you're a really good basketball player, but if you play football, maybe one of the football players will play basketball. And we've seen that. We've seen that across the board in these small schools, and that's how you grow the program.
Yep.
Because you just want to start playing ball, or you want to start being around these guys on a more consistent basis. And part of the issue is Coach A and Coach B that are in the same school recruiting the same players need to be playing nice in the same sandbox before they expect their kids to.
Yep, that's an issue. That's a whole other conversation about how coaches handle sharing kids. Not how kids handle sharing kids, but how some coaches might be able to say, hey, I love my sport and I want my sport to succeed, but you can go and play another sport during that season and I'm okay with it, because that's not everywhere. Let's be real. There are some coaches out there that get kind of feisty about their kids, and hey, if you play this sport and you're not at my preseason workouts that aren't mandatory yet, then you might lose your starting spot, things like that. And then the kid gets scared that they're not going to be there, so they don't play that sport, so they can go to this coach's preseason workouts. And it's just like one of those things where you're in a small school, you better learn how to share.
Well, let's just face it. I mean, nationally, they say that in schools that are size essentially Division II and below, which is everybody in YSN in our coverage map, the top 10 athletes in the school are going to be the top 10 athletes in whatever program they're in.
Yep.
So if they are, football, basketball, baseball, wrestling, whatever it may be, you're just going to intermix those. So the kid that's the 6th best football player might be the 1st basketball player. The kid that's the 1st baseball player might be the 4th best basketball player or wrestler, whatever it may be. Wrestling and football obviously go hand in hand. A lot of times basketball and baseball go hand in hand because there's a lot of the same mentalities and things of that nature and culture differences and similarities. What I'm saying is when you have 30 kids in your class, 30 boys or whatever it may be, there is no room for specialization. And I will tell that to anybody. Bo Jackson came out. I saw a TikTok with Bo Jackson saying, if you want to be the best baseball player and the best football player, and you separate that, basically speaking to if you're going to specialize or you should specialize in one or you'll be on the bench in both, that's bullcrap. Bo Jackson wouldn't be
Jackson.
Bo Jackson. Yes. What Bo Jackson's trying to do is protect his image and protect his brand.
Don't do anything that I did. Don't do it better. I'm still the
Russell
really
Wilson,
one of the
Patrick Mahomes. I mean, if you've ever seen Sidney Crosby do anything outside of hockey, he does it incredibly well. A lot of this stuff, athletics and being in the classroom, smart kids, a lot of this stuff, basketball could make you a better baseball player. Baseball could make you a better football player. Wrestling could make you a better football player. All of this, volleyball can make you a better basketball player, vice versa. All this, like it is, and softball's in there somewhere. I don't want to talk, I don't want to snip softball, but you get what I'm saying. It's, you can't have a class and you graduate in a class of mine was 127. And I wish somebody would have laid this out for me, is if you have essentially 60 or 70 boys in your class and you are thinking about, hey, you are just going to play baseball, or you are just going to play football, or you're just going to play softball, or you're just going to play, like, you're letting everybody else down and you're limiting yourself. Mm-hmm. I mean, I watched quarterback last night and Joe Burrow thought he was going to be a basketball player. Thought he was better at basketball than he was football. Joe Burrow. So if you're sitting at a Latonia or an East Palestine or a South Range or even an Austintown Fitz or a Boardman, and you're sitting there saying, I'm specializing. I'm going to special. I'm not saying you can't, and I'm not saying you won't. I would just ask you to reconsider, because if Joe Burrow, who's making a boatload of cash right now in football, was not good enough to specialize in high school, I'm going to put the argument that you probably aren't either. Prove me wrong, but I would imagine that if you're that good at one sport, you're probably at least that good in another, or at least up to par or average or better in another sport, that you can help your teammates, help your classmates, help your community, all that stuff. And we don't have to talk about this. Can you imagine? And this is the hard part for me. Can you imagine being a member of that Latonia football team? Imagine if you're a freshman or sophomore, or imagine if you're an eighth grader even, and you hear this in your community.
Yep.
And you have to make a really tough decision as a 13-year-old that maybe I don't want to leave my community. Maybe I don't want to be. I've waited all my life to be under those lights, to be on that floor with the blue and white on. I've waited all my life to represent, wear the same jersey that my mom, my dad, my uncle, my grandfather wore. And you've got a bunch of talkers saying, Latonia's not going to have a football team. In the world we live in, and all the things, the more you know graphic comes across the screen, like, you're telling me that is not incredibly challenging to a 13-year-old who is making a decision essentially that is going to affect them for the rest of their life. And people are going to say that's a dramatic statement. I beg to differ, because there's some things in life that you have to make a decision. Mm-hmm. At 13 years old, you shouldn't have to make a decision based on, I want to play football, but I'm being told by someone completely out of the loop that there's no football team. And then that lingers like for the rest of your high school career. Yep. There's no more, there's no more so back to the two, man.
Even more so, someone's telling your parents that there's not going to be a football team, because they're going to have a big, strong say in that decision on whether or not you stay in Latonia or not. And if someone's telling mom and dad who want to see you succeed, we know how crazy sport parents can be. They telling them there's no football team in Latonia, then all of a sudden mom and dad are, I don't care what you want, kid, we're playing football. We've put so much money and time and effort into you getting to this level of football. If Latonia's not going to have a football team, we're going to pick a school that's local, and you're going to play football there. And that's where community gets kind of lost.
Here's what I'll tell you, and kind of the rebuttal to that is, if Latonia at some point, and I'm not saying this is ever going to happen, but this is one of the things that I'm sure Nick would agree with me, one of our few agreements that we ever have. But if Latonia, for some reason, or any other school, does not have a football team, guess what? You can go somewhere else. No. Not leave the school, but you get to go to another program that does, or another district that does have a football team, or does have a volleyball team, or does have a softball or baseball or bowling. That's a rule in Ohio that if the district that you attend does not have a program, you are permitted to play under theirs. We see East Palestine students playing or competing in different sports in Blackhawk because they have, I want to say, fishing and some other like Olympic sport that I'm not privy to.
And remember,
but guess what? They have it.
Drew Galt, right? He's a Heartland kid, but they didn't have football, so he got to play football for Cheney, right? So
yeah, and that's what I'm trying to get to. And I again, we talked about people speaking out of both sides of their mouth. I am an open enrollment parent, but it's a situation that my wife and I made a decision early on that this is the best for our son and daughter. This is where it is best for our son and daughter. And listen, it doesn't mean that the other place wasn't great and wonderful and we don't respect it. And I graduated from a particular high school and I said, listen, I want him to have this experience, or I want her to have this experience. And it had very little to do with athletics, and it had more to do with the people that we know and the circles that we are in. That's what it had to do with. And it's none of anybody else's business, but there it is. You know, you have to be, and especially as a parent, and I learned this very quickly, you have the responsibility to put your son or daughter in the best place possible.
Yep.
And that's it. And I'm not going to be someone that goes, okay, they're here. Like that's no good for what we're trying to do as a parent. We're not chasing championships. We're chasing dreams of my son and my daughter, you know, and that's it. And a lot of these parents are like, well, if my son's or my daughter's not a champion in sports, they're never going to get recruited. I'm going to tell you that's the furthest thing from the truth.
Yeah.
And coaches that are preaching that, now listen, that's not to take anything away from championships.
Oh.
But I think from a recruitment style, if you want your son or daughter to play sports at the next level, coaches are going to find them, whether they're 0-10 or 0-48 or whatever it may be. They're looking for kids that finish what they start. They're looking for kids that are loyal. They're looking for kids that can help their program, if we're being quite honest. And it has nothing to do. Like if you bet 1,000 in baseball or softball and the rest of your team, and you like Paul Skeens, right?
Right.
I don't think that teams are going to be like, you know what? We'll never trade for Paul Skeens because he's 4-10.
Yeah.
The dude has a 1.4 ERA or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's foolish. And I think people need to wake up and understand that if your kid is good, they will go. Mm-hmm. And they also need to understand that if they are not good, they won't. And not everybody is cut out for college sports, specifically Division I. You can get all the batting lessons and pitching lessons and, you know, football lessons and whatever. You get all the camps in the world. That does not entitle you to be a Division I athlete. You have to be extremely special to do that. And there's not a win or a loss in the world that will ever change the way a coach sees you. Like, it doesn't matter. Kirtland, perfect example, right?
Right.
How many state championships they have, and they sent one kid to college football?
Yep, because they win as a unit. They don't really – I mean, nothing. They have a lot of talent, of course, but they don't have – I've never seen Kirtland with a kid that's like, oh, that kid is so much better than everybody else on the team. He's going to go places. And that's because that's how their program's built.
We've said it before on this show, and we'll say it a million more times. And as someone who's starting a recruitment platform, essentially, you know, and media service, you're not like – most division. Here's what I'll tell you. Spoiler alert. Most Division I talent do not need a recruitment service.
That's true.
They don't. And I will also tell you that the majority of our 70 schools, whatever, the majority of our athletes are not Division I students and student athletes.
We have them, but they're not the majority at all.
I would argue that they're perhaps 5%, and that's being very
when you think of 70 schools, and then that would be astronomical, the number of players we have. And especially if you went through every sport, and this year, maybe 4 or 5 players in all the sports went Division I for people that graduated in 2025. So you're talking 5 of 700 ish.
Well, I mean, you think about it. If each school has 100 athletes, which they don't, we know that, multiply
7,000.
that by 70, that's 7,000, right? Potential. And you've got, if we had 5% of that, that's a big number. It's a big number. And that's a lot of kids going D1. We don't have that. There aren't many places that do, Anthony. And that's why, again, if you're Division I, it doesn't mean that Division II, Division III, JUCO, NAIA, whatever it may be, it doesn't mean you're not special.
5% was extremely generous, by the way, because I just did the math. That would be 350 Division I kids if we had 7,000 athletes. We don't.
Don't.
It's like 1%.
Well, and you look at only 7% in the country.
Yeah.
7% of high school athletes go to college and play. Of that 7%, and I want, if you're out there and you're jotting down notes, this is legit statistics. This isn't just DJ throwing at spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. Of that 7%, 3% of NCAA athletes go on to play something professionally. And that's not MLB. That is everything.
Everything.
That is going overseas to play. That is everything. 3% of the 7% of the 100%. I mean, you are talking better chances of being struck by lightning. And yet we have people that are transferring their children back to the reason we're talking about this across town because this gives me a better chance to have Ohio State see me.
They'll see you. It doesn't mean they want you.
I mean, I promise you, your resume as a parent is not going to be evaluated on where your son or daughter plays college sports. It's not, because there's so much more. Listen, and I feel like I'm rambling, so I apologize. I'm telling you, at the end of the day, it's so much more than your worth in the batter's box or behind center or, in the circle or as a middle hitter. It's a lot more to do with, does this person fill a need that we need? Because when people start looking at colleges as a business, because that's what it is, like, you don't always get the job you want right out of the gate in the real world. And there might be 14 outfielders. That's why you're not being recruited on that roster. There might be one pitcher, and that's why you are being recruited on that roster. There might be a libero opening, and they see what you do. They might just like you because you're a great leader. They might like you because you're 6'5", and 6'5" is going to be special, and 5'4" is not.
Yep.
That might be it. It's as simple as that. And it might be as simple as who you know as opposed to what you can do.
That's very true too.
But yet we sit here and we go, I'm going to move my kid from point A to point B specifically because they're going to play for the Ohio State University or they're going to play for – that's not why you do what you do. That's not why you do it. If you're going to open enroll, there's nothing against that. In laws right now in our state, it's making it easier than ever to move from school to school. And everybody seems like they've got the idea of bullying, which is an absolute – that could be an entire show because that boils me up. But dude, am I wrong? Am I off course on this? That if you're the only reason you're open enrolling your kid is for sports, then you're doing it for the wrong reasons, and you're doing it very selfishly.
It's also because they'll see someone's story, and they'll see is like the very face value, and maybe a part of that kid's story was I went from this small school to maybe a big academy like IMG or something, and that's and then I went on to play for Ohio State, and then I went on to pros. But that small little part, I went to IMG. There are probably more than one reasons why you went to IMG Academy.
IMG can fill the gap.
All the parents see is, oh, he went to IMG, therefore he got recruited, and that was the sole reason. And okay, let's get our kid to the biggest, baddest school we can get him to, and they'll get recruited. And that's not the case. Sorry.
No. And I promise you that the first kid that comes out of Latonia and goes to a big college, everybody's going to be like, well, what about us? Well, and they do the same thing. We hear it all the time at high schools everywhere. And when I was growing up, it was just the Catholic schools. It was, well, They're going here because they went to Ursuline or Mooney or let's be honest. Let's be real. Those kids are pretty good. When they're walking away with state titles, when they're walking away, and people, the biggest one that drives me nuts is, well, they'll just walk onto YSU.
As if it's easy.
Yeah. Like the YSU that has national championships, like you're that good that you can just walk onto a Division I school.
I think because they're local, people forget that YSU is a Division I school sometimes. Like, it is top tier. It might not be a big D1 school, but it's still a Division I school. Like, I think people kind of forget that because they're so local and it's kind of saturated. No, these are top of the tier that we just talked about, that 3% of the 7% athletes going to YSU. They're D1.
You want to hear a one that I got over the last week? Well, you know what? We might just go onto the Scrappers. I didn't know you could just walk onto the Scrappers. Like a couple years ago, I know they needed it when the MLB Draft League was really just looking for people at the end of the season. But even then, they were like, hey, you pitched in college. Would you like an opportunity to pitch? They were getting local kids. Because why? They're selling tickets. Now it's not the case. I mean, you saw how many MLB draftees we had coming out of the Scrappers and the MLB Draft League. Like, they're getting it figured out. And this person, I didn't laugh in their face. I just kind of was like, I don't think you understand how this works. They were like, well, I haven't really decided. Like, first off, your senior year, you haven't decided where you're going to go. But not just your senior year. You're graduated for the last 2 months, and you're like, I haven't really figured out where I want to, commit to. I'm like, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but like,
you're late.
There's nowhere to commit to at this point. Like, you're going to wherever you go, you'll have to walk on, try out, all that stuff. He goes, well, I was thinking about just walking on with the Scrappers, like trying out with the Scrappers. And I'm like, okay. Well, they just had the draft. So maybe there's something that I'm missing, but you can't just show up at Eastwood Field with a bag on your shoulder and be like, hey,
ready to play, coach.
I can throw a baseball over them there mountains. Like, don't think that's how it works, but I could be wrong. So, this usually it's the same thing, but it's, like, if I wouldn't have, sprained my ankle in week 6 of the season, I probably could have, Villanova was looking at me, Rutgers. It's always some like crazy school that like nobody
would dive into.
Yeah. Like, if you told them that where the Mahoning Valley was, they'd be like, where? Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. We had a guy. But to wrap this up, one of the things I'm most excited about, Latonia, gonna have sports. Gonna have sports. Having Nick on to cut through the BS and to and say, hey, listen, we're committed to it. That's half the battle right there. I hope, it is my hope that kind of rumor mill turns into support for this program. And they come out in droves and they support these kids and these, not just football, go to the volleyball games, go to the golf matches, go like whatever you can do to support your local school. I promise you, the experience of you showing up and giving them attention, those kids start going, hey, this is pretty cool. But if you look at empty bleachers on a Friday night, it has an effect on you.
Yep.
And we hear a lot and we see a lot of that Latonia pride and whatever school, use the variable. Show up. Support these kids. Win, lose, or draw. Tell the kid who made a great play. Tell the kid who was, if you could be 60-0, the kid that went in, that never gets in, that practice every day that you go to, that moment that you had, it was worth it. Because guess what? In the back of their mind, that next practice that they might be the tackling dummy for, essentially, they're going to say, all of this is worth it for those moments under the lights, that camaraderie that you have with a team, being a good teammate. You never know when that kid's going to make a huge tackle. And huge is obviously, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But some of these kids just need a pat on the back and say, hey, keep it up.
Yep.
Keep doing it. That alone might be enough to say, I have pride in my school. I'm staying here. Nick talked about it. A lot of these schools just need that pride. Some of these schools don't. It's built into their culture. But these schools that are crying foul and these schools that are trying to keep things there, they need the community involvement and community support behind them, and not just the kind that you go on social media and you type up crazy rumors. Support the team. Support your neighbors. Support your community. And that's how you change the culture. That's how you help guys like Nick Safara, these athletic directors who are tasked with, not only do we want you to win, but we want you to, oh, by the way, just make sure the program survives. Because like my brother Nick, I don't have much in the way of hair, but I got to imagine if he had a full head of lettuce, it's probably cut down to a small salad at this point, if he's trying to keep a program. And he's tasked with just keeping the program going, keeping the school, keeping those doors open in the locker room.
Yep.
And he's doing it, man. He's doing it. Any final thoughts on that? Because I have some more news I want to break here.
I think you've hit everything. I think we've talked that conversation to its end.
What you're telling me is I just beat the broken record down. Like beat that horse is dead.
Stop! It's dead.
It's dead, man. No, one more good one.
No, like not the office, but Office Space where they're beating the copier.
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster.
Comes back for one more.
Here's my buddy Mike. I told you, pop in. And he says, good job, Nick. Awesome job, Nick. Mm-hmm. We have some interesting news. And by the way, I know that Nick is probably still watching Crestview, certainly with Mike and the passion he has. We have partnered, and you guys need to take this. Everybody watching needs to take notes on this and send us a message if there's interest. We had the very interesting and incredible privilege of being on hand in the Pro Football Hall of Fame yesterday for a huge announcement that they are having my hero, the guy that I love and we model this show after, Pat McAfee, will be coming to the Pro Football Hall of Fame July 31st. That is in a couple weeks. They will be having a show. So we will not.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe we should call him and see if he wants to do a show together, right? Hey, Pat.
I would lose my mind. I would. We can't even joke about that because I would run through that wall right there. But in all seriousness, we will not have a show that day because we are working with the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and we are working towards a potential official partnership with the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Now, what that means is we don't know, but right now they see the influence that we have in the communities. What we were able to build and agree with just yesterday, and you may have seen this on social media, is they are holding obviously an enshrinement that will happen the 31st that night.
Yeah. Yep.
They are asking for teams, specifically football teams at this point for this venture, that would like to go to the enshrinement, be on hand, absolutely free, and have, I believe, a shirt with the Pro Football Hall of Fame and their team logo on it. As I understand it, I could be off on that, so I do apologize. Go back to the disclaimer because I could be full of you know what. But that was the conversation at the table. And also to be able to be at the enshrinement and wear your high school football jersey and social media, all that stuff. They want you there. They want to show you what it means to be a Hall of Famer. We've already talked to some of the teams. We want more. We want a great representation, certainly from our community at YSN. So if this is of any interest to your football team, it could be your whole football team. It could be seniors. It could be anybody. Let us know, and we will make the connection. But this is a very quick turnaround. So let us know. And once we fill, it's kind of over for that. But next year, we will be able to certainly facilitate more conversations. We don't know how many teams they necessarily want. I know they want to fill that stadium, and they would love to have football players there from around our area to be able to obviously show on TV and things of that nature. So if you're interested in that, please let me know, and I will connect the dots there. But also, and more importantly, the 1st and 2nd, August 1st and 2nd in Canton, they are having Fan Fest. They are looking for volunteers. So what we would love to do is, no matter what it is, we know that there's community service projects out there for teams, for individuals, for students, all of that. If you would be a volunteer in Canton, which isn't far away from us, you can probably get some of that taken care of. Or if you're looking to just be part of this and hobnobbing with some Hall of Famers, which I'm sure will be there at FanFest, and learning some of the trade, and hey, networking, seniors, juniors, good opportunities for internships and to meet some people that potentially could help you down the line. They would love to have you volunteer. I was told that potentially if teams volunteer, there could be some funds put back. Again, no promises. That was a quick conversation because not everybody likes to raise their hand and work for free. But what I can tell you is we're probably going to be there. YSN guys are probably going to show up, but we would love for you to show up too. We have the hours. Reach out to us. Message us. If you're seeing this right now, if you have my number, message me. If you don't, please don't, because I don't know how you got my number. And it scares me sometimes. But message us. Anthony or I will answer the message, and we will get you hooked up as part of the volunteer for FanFest. They are looking for 15 to 20. I would like to see 20 to 40. You know what I mean? And you guys can split shifts or whatever. Go enjoy it for a little bit. Again, Canton, not that far away, easy to get to. And to be part of this, I think is a really cool opportunity. And it shows kind of the flex of YSN and the influence that we have, and we can help when people like the Pro Football Hall of Fame ask for help, which pinch me a little bit. Kind of crazy. Like, they invited us to this thing. Anthony, I kid you not, I sat there for this media extravaganza, and I looked around the room, and I'm like, Cleveland, national media, ESPN, YSN. What?
YSN? What?
and Rob Johnson sitting there, and like it was crazy. And sitting at the table where the directors of every single part of the Hall of Fame and me, and I was like, what? I must be at the wrong table.
Who let me in?
I was waiting for just a group of dudes just picking me up and just rolling me out of that place. Like it was, they know who we are. They know what we do. They love what we do. And I was just pinch me moments in that meeting. Could not wait to talk to everybody about this today. And the more we get to do with the Hall of Fame, the cooler it's going to get, because I think that the Hall of Fame understands that even though football is really cool and really trendy, can I say hip? Is that back yet? Hip?
Is it back? I don't know. I don't think so.
Oh, Jen's going to kill us. Jen Coons is going to murder us
Yep,
on this show. I think that they understand that the next generation needs to get involved in this, and they need to get, give to the next generation. And I think there's a great opportunity here. And like I said, my mom gave me the best advice when I was in high school. She said, anybody that you can network with is an opportunity that perhaps you meet them once, they remember your name, they remember how you work, and then down the road, potentially they could hire you on and you could have a great job or a job you really enjoy. So great opportunities for high school students, great opportunities for high school teams. Please just reach out to us and we'll get you connected. So that's my pitch. But hey, dude, Hall of Fame. Holy crap.
The Hall of Fame game will be the next day after that, which is the Chargers and Lions this year, which are two teams that haven't been to the Hall of Fame game in quite some time. So
the Lions, I think, are going to be a contender. Chargers?
They're both in the conversation.
Well, they talk about it.
You know who my horse is in the AFC West.
Oh, there we go. Well, hey.
I'm more scared of the Broncos. I'm more scared of the Broncos than the Chargers. But
a lot of chatter about the Chiefs being done. A lot of chatter. A lot of chatter. I happen to think it's a Bills year. I happen to think Detroit's going to be awesome if they can stay healthy.
Yeah.
I also think
they were right there on the doorstep 2 years ago. People forget that the Lions were in the NFC Championship, right there. And the Niners beat them in that game, but they're not far away.
Jared Goff, Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, we're not there yet. I know Sam's out there watching somewhere. Don't even.
Hey, back to baseball. We didn't even say it because we've been so caught up in all the other conversations, but congratulations to Landon Binokeys, man. Atlanta Braves.
LB.
Let's go.
6th round, 187th pick, I believe.
87th, yes.
Going to the Atlanta Braves, where they had the All-Star game and the Home Run Derby this week, which was, may I say, electric. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Baseball is back.
Has to end in a swing off. That's always awesome.
That should be no more extra innings. There it is.
There it is.
Rob Manfred, write it down, make it law. It's a swing off. It's a home run derby at the end. Can you imagine, Anthony? No more extra innings. Pitchers are always, pitchers are soft. You want to talk to people that are soft. Pitchers are soft. Well, I got to go out there and I got to throw a day. Okay, you got to work once every 5 days. Relax, chill out. There are so many people that would sign up for working once every 5 days in America. But I will tell you this. You don't got, okay, no more crying. But guess what's going to happen? Pitcher salaries are going down. And the big swingers, their salaries going up because we're doing home run derby instead of extra innings. How is that any different than the shootout in hockey or soccer?
Yep, you're right.
I think it's brilliant. This is if baseball doesn't cash in on this, if they do not pull this trigger, it's their loss. And they really are just disconnected from
it's saying it, but there's no baseball is so hard to change. There's no way they're going to make that dramatic of a change.
No.
It's not gonna happen.
No. Did you watch last night?
Yeah, but the All-Star game is one thing. But like if MLB came out and said we're gonna do this for our regular season games that matter towards your record making the playoffs, I don't think it would go very well with like the oldies in baseball and the people that are in that room.
They're first to die. Okay, I'll just put it that way. They're going away on their own. Like they'll sort themselves out. The ABS, like they had last night,
that was great.
Bring it.
Bring
it. The pitcher, I mean, you saw Diaz. He called for it, and that just nipped the strike zone.
Right.
And it was strike 3. Dude, that was as cool. And I don't like this. I saw it last night. Boom. I'm in. Count me in. I loved it.
I also enjoyed being able to hear the broadcasters talk to the pitchers during the pitch. Like when Kershaw is going through his pitch sequence and what he wants to throw, why he wants to throw it. That's always really fun too.
Well, and the announcers too, by the way, shut the hell up whenever he's in the middle of his windup. All right. You got Smoltzy going, go slider here. Go slider. He's in the middle. Like,
how about he's like, throw a cutter, and Kershaw's like, I don't have a cutter. What are you saying?
Hey, Smoltzy, little journalism. Let's
do your
go.
research. Journalism.
He's only been in the league for 20 years. He's never had a cutter. I do like that. I think we're going to bring that to high school in our All-Star game. We're talking about potentially some interesting games.
We had coaches mic'd up during the softball one. That was real fun. But if we could talk to them, that'd be even better.
We're working on it. I know that Rob Johnson's out there somewhere, and he's probably writing down and feverishly scouring the internet for things that we can do. One of the things that we've talked about is, you ever see that 9 box for strikes?
Yeah.
They have one here at Athletics. I think we're going to do pitchers games. We're going to have 2 nights of excuse me, of celebration for All-Stars next year. This is what I want. If it happens, I don't know. Home run derby, number 1.
Yes.
Clamoring for home run derby. Now, how we pull that off, that I don't know. I don't know if we need like a fence, like a different fence, so there's more home runs, because the last thing you want is to show up like Jazz Chisholm and have 3 home runs, because then not a good look. But for pitchers, because I naturally, what about pitchers? Okay. We'll put that 9 hole up, and there's a point system.
Yep.
On all of it. Bullseye would not be right down the middle. I'll tell you that right now. Bullseye is the upper or lower quadrant on the inside and outside. So we'll see. I saw it. I like it. I like it a lot, and I think it'd be fun. So we'll see if that comes to fruition. But that's I thought baseball had a great week, or a couple days, depending on how you look at it. But I'm excited. I was excited for the All-Star game for the first time in a long time. Made me feel like I was 7 years old again.
I think now we can probably say, because the NBA's All-Star game was even more of a train wreck this year than it has been in the past. You might be able to say that MLB might now have the best All-Star game out of the major sports. It's MLB and hockey, I think, are those 2.
Pro Bowl stinks. Well, listen. Are we talking about the NHL All-Star game, or are we talking about the Four Nations? The Four Nations was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was I don't care what MLB could play on stilts, and they're not going to compare to the Four Nations.
You wonder if, because there was conversations about, someone wanted MLB, and I saw it on TikTok earlier this week. They want MLB to kind of adopt this idea where you have some international ball thrown into your season, and the NBA too. They want the NBA to kind of come into. I think it was actually Mark Cuban that was talking about it.
Oh,
how he wants the NBA to kind of join into this, instead of having this middle of the season tournament that no one really cares about. Like, do what hockey kind of did, and kind of bring in international FIBA basketball into the middle of the NBA season.
Well, here's what I'm gonna tell you. You want to play Dream Team basketball versus the world? Mm-hmm. Spoiler alert. We're winning that. Basketball is ours. Baseball might be a different story,
Baseball is close to ours. There's a couple of teams that compete with us.
but we
Pretty
got the Big
easily.
Dumper. We got Big Dumper, so we got a chance. My new favorite baseball player right now, by the way. Z's all in on O'Neal Cruz. All
Okay.
in. He saw O'Neal hitting just absolute
Tanks.
moonshots, and O'Neal Cruz is now Z Oakley's favorite player.
Not a
Maybe
bad pick.
favorite human, but he also liked that he had the pink highlights in his hair, red or whatever he had going. I said, don't get any ideas.
Don't get any idea.
Don't
until you're-
you think about it.
Not until you're 18, kid.
Dude, he signs that big contract someday. Dude, dye your hair whatever color you
Do
want.
whatever you want to your hair.
Go ahead. As long as mommy and I are paying for chicken nuggets, that hair stays the color it is. Just be happy you have some. I guess that's
Right. That's
my,
what you have to say. Just do-
just embrace it, pal.
Embrace what
Embrace
you
it.
can. It might
These
not
locks
last.
were once golden. They were golden when I was young. They were natural golds. Later in life, had to dye them up. Let's get the hell out of here. Like we're just rambling now. But
It's been an hour, almost 2 hours of rambling. Woo.
well, this is what happened. We have one show every 2 weeks.
I know.
Like we have
We've been
to
off for a
play catch
while.
up. Playing YSN football right now. All right, we have a show tomorrow. Correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do we have a show Friday?
I will not be here Friday. So
What do you
Thursday
have?
and then Monday and through Thursday is Little League Baseball.
Yeah. See ya. I won't be here.
So,
We've got hot stove
but
on Saturday and Sunday, and we've got Little League Baseball Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
what I will do during that week that you're doing Little League Baseball is I will start to get preseason previews for our fall sports so we can start to play them when we come back. So,
Are we already taping them, or are we doing them live?
well, I'll get some taped so we can have, because there's way too many to have all of them live, right? There's just way too many teams. So we'll get some taped and we'll save some for live and we'll just
Sounds
do
like
that.
a challenge. Sounds like a challenge. Which brings us, hey, we've been on for almost 2 hours. Why not say it here? Coaches, athletic directors, if you want to be previewed prior to the season, we would love to have you on our show, whether it's recorded or live, hear it from noon to 1, or in this case, noon to 2. We would love to have you on our show and talk about your teams, players as well. We can do player profiles and get you going here before the year starts and all the hubbub hits. And it's hard to get people locked in because once we start going, those slots fill up very quickly.
Yes.
So
yes.
we want to make sure that we get the most amount of interviews and we tell your story of your season and certainly get you locked in so you can be a guest later in the season as well. So reach out to us on social media. Anthony will line you up from a production standpoint, producer standpoint, and we'll get you on here for YSN Live for a coach's corner or a player profile. If you are looking to sponsor, there are plenty of opportunities to sponsor this year on ysnlive.com. We have a ton of football coming. We have, if you're looking to announce, by the way, we are still accepting applications for announcers for whatever sport it may be, getting a lot of football, getting a lot of girls volleyball. Please let us know. Also, if you're up in the Ashtabula area, Sam Torres still needs announcers for all the different sports. So make sure that you're doing that. Oh boy, he's
Oh, here he
spoken
is.
into existence. Oh boy. Forget winter. Fall is coming.
That's a Game of Thrones reference.
Okay.
Lord.
Well, that was super. I told
I
you.
don't think DJ's ever watched Game of Thrones, have you?
No. Nope. My life feels like Game of Thrones.
You either win or you die. That's the play the Game of Thrones. Play the Game of Thrones. You either win or you die.
Yeah, that's the way I live my life. But in all seriousness, yes, if you'd like to become part of our team, we would love to have you. We have great opportunities for you across the board in your community. All you have to do is reach out to YSN Live, whether our social medias, or you can email us the old school way, info at ysnlive.com, and we'll get you started. If you have already and I haven't responded to you, maybe send another one. maybe send it. There's a lot of spam going on in the world right now on Gmail.
Yes.
So just letting you know that if I haven't gotten back to you, either didn't see it or it got lost in the shuffle. So just send me another one. Messages are usually the best. Social media, because Anthony can see it and I can see it. So we'll go that route as well. And we're looking forward to an record-breaking year.
I think so.
I think this is going to be the biggest year yet on YSN, and that's saying something. 13.5 million views on our website last year, on pace for 15 million this year. What does next year hold? What does next year hold? Can we hit 20? Is it too much to ask for 20 million on YSN? We'll find out. We'll find out. Last thing before we let you go, Joe Dickey Electric, use this as my spark. We are last call for golfers and sponsors for the YSN golf outing coming up on the 28th, which is not this coming Monday, but the next Monday after at 1 o'clock at Mill Creek Golf Course. If you would like to come out and golf, hang out with us for an entire afternoon, evening, great food, great people, and helping us raise funds so we can do more in our realm of that's the second time I've used realm today. I feel like somebody to help us with our mission here, moving into this year, so we can do more, better equipment, pay announcers perhaps a little bit more, incentivize and get them out to more games. Please help us be part of the mission here for our first ever YSN golf outing. Again, July 28th, 1 p.m. at Mill Creek Golf Course. The majority of us will be hanging around the entire day. YSN personalities, really not golfing. We're there to cater to you and make sure you're having a good time. T-shirts and towels will be the favors, and we will have contests. The only money contest is skins, because we all know you guys cheat on your scorecard. So we're just going to wipe that out. We're going to have some fun, do some skins, have some other contests along the lines, and then and hopefully do some great things. And we want to hear your ideas too. So if you're out there and you want to be part of the YSN golf outing, now's the time to sign up. We have very limited spaces. We are accepting walk-ups if there are spaces, but there's no guarantees if you're not signed up. Very last call for this. We're shutting it down on Friday. So let us know, and we will get you signed up. That's it for me. And any other thoughts from Mr. Ronald Hartwig?
I got nothing. I really do. It's a gas show, man.
Hey, I had fun today.
Thank
you to Nick Safara for popping on and clearing up the rumor mill. Thank you to you, as always, for allowing us to do this for a living. What a crazy world we live in. Thank you to Greenwood Chevrolet, who goes the extra mile for you and always goes the extra mile for us. We try to do the same on this show. And then, of course, thank you to our friends at Toyota of Warren, who are always supporting us. Tino and the whole crew over there at Toyota of Warren, just fans of what we do and huge supporters of what we do. And again, if you would like to become an advertiser supporter of what we do, ysnlive.com/advertise. For Anthony Ronald Hartwig, my name is DJ Yoakley. This has been YSN Live for Wednesday, July 16th, 2025. Anthony, may the sports be with you, pal.
And you, my friend.
YSN thanks you for watching this presentation of your sports network. For stories, stats, and more, go to ysnlive.com.